Well, thank you, Chairman Blumenthal. And after a week as chairman, you're already having a major hearing and off to quite a start. And I look forward to our opportunity to work together on this committee. I also want to thank Senator Warner for his leadership and his continued interest in these areas, and for taking time to be here today on what he and I thought was an important topic when we originally decided we needed to have a hearing on this. And again, thanks to you for following through on that, and look forward to our opportunity to work together. I want to thank all of our witnesses for coming today. We have 4 people, 4 government witnesses, 2 private sector witnesses. Obviously, this is a topic that has significant implications and involves both the government and the private sector finding ways to work together. I know I join you in being pleased that our colleagues from North Dakota, Senator Hoeven and Senator Heitkamp, have, while not on the committee, have joined us today and will be functioning as if they were active members of this committee, and certainly may understand these issues better than anybody else on the committee, certainly as well as anybody else understands them. There's certainly no doubt that the recent rail accidents involving trains transporting crude oil have brought new questions of rail safety and transporting this product to the forefront. The central issues we are grappling with here is how our infrastructure can keep up with the national and global needs that we have, specifically the infrastructure we're talking about today, rail infrastructure, and the 21st century demand we're talking about. The new demand we're talking about on that infrastructure is energy. There's no doubt that infrastructure is a critical component of our economy. Again, to mention Senator Warner, he and I were and are co-sponsoring 2 pieces of legislation that would add just tools to the toolbox. I think all of us have talked about this many times. The infrastructure challenge is so big, it's hard to imagine putting more things in that toolbox than we could use, because there's so many different ways to do, as you just suggested, Mr. Chairman, what needs to be done. Quality transportation is, of course, vital to connect people and connect products with each other. The Energy Information Agency projects that world energy consumption will grow by 56% between now and 2040. They also project that crude oil production will be at 8.5 million barrels a day in the United States by the end of this year. 8.5 million barrels is 3.5 million barrels higher than we were producing in 2008. And so obviously this is a part of our energy economy that has grown dramatically, and we expect it to continue to grow. We need to look today, one of the things we'll be looking at is clearly what impact that's had on rail. In 2012, Class 1 railroads moved more crude oil than ever, over 230,000 carloads. Now that's up from 9,500 carloads just 4 years ago. And those are numbers the kind of numbers I have a hard time repeating later, because I'll think, surely I didn't, even though I'm the one reading this information, surely I didn't read that right. In 4 years, we've gone from 9,500 carloads of crude oil on rail to 230,000 carloads of crude oil on rail. And obviously a dramatic change both in our energy profile, but also in how we're moving that energy around. And one of the things that obviously benefits from that is the ability to send those carloads at a different place than a fixed pipeline might send them. But I think, again, back to infrastructure, whether it's increasing pipeline capacity, rail capacity, how we deal with that, that's just going to be an important part of the foreseeable future for us unless we walk away from the energy opportunity we have. This examination of where we are needs to be balanced. It needs to understand everything from tank car design to rail infrastructure to rail safety. And I think when you look at the panel here today, we clearly are prepared to talk about all of those things and to look at how we classify hazardous materials. Back to the Chairman's comments, how that classification is working and how it needs to work better. It's also important that we have somebody here from the Federal Communications Commission to talk about positive train control. Positive train control can only happen if you can have the information you need to have, and that can only happen if you have the towers sited that need to be sited. And this is a topic I brought up with Chairman Wheeler in this room when he was testifying in his nomination hearing. I think I also brought it up with two other members of the commission that have recently been added when they were testifying. That now, how are we going to solve this tower siting problem, and is it possible to do that in a way that meets the deadline of the law? And my personal belief is that the answer is no, it's not possible. So what are we going to do about that? The private sector companies have invested substantially in time and resources in rail safety. Rail safety is at a higher level than it's ever been, but what do we want to talk about today is what do we still need to do? I know Mr. Szabo, particularly with a lifetime of time spent in this industry, could probably tell us better than anybody else, and I may ask him to later, what's happened in the 30 years you've been doing this. And if you look at the derailment numbers and all the other numbers, there is dramatic improvement. And what do we still need to do to make that even better? But I think it's important we understand how far we've moved in just the last few years. And Chairman, again, thank you for holding this hearing, and I look forward to working with you as the chairman of this subcommittee.